Well, look, I'm sure you've seen what's been going on with Nigel Farage and the banks. I'm not going to do chapter and verse in this video, but I will put a link down below if you haven't yet seen Nigel's latest comments on this over on his YouTube channel. Needless to say, it's all pretty disturbing stuff. I also think the BBC's conduct, as we've seen this story develop, I think the BBC's conduct has been a complete and utter disgrace. Do we really expect anything else nowadays? They seem to have just completely lost touch with reality. And Nigel Farage actually asking now, will they apologise for their reporting on this story? And Nigel demanding that the BBC correct their original story about him and that he will be making a complaint. But let's give some credit where it's due, because some in the government have come out and supported Nigel on this quite strongly, including, for instance, the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, saying that the scandal exposes the sinister nature of much of the diversity, equity and inclusion industry. Doesn't seem very inclusive to me. She says apparently anyone who wants to control our borders and stop the boats can be branded xenophobic and have their bank account closed in the name of inclusivity. How ironic is that, by the way? She goes on to say corporates who have naively adopted this politically biased dogma need a major rethink. There is also an issue for the public sector too, which is why she's reviewing the policies at the Home Office. You've also had Grant Shapps speaking out there about people being unbanked, debanked because of political views. And the City Minister there, Andrew Griffiths, also saying it would be of serious concern if financial services were being denied to anyone exercising their right to lawful free speech. And you also had two Brexiteer Tory MPs at Prime Minister's Questions today raising this in Jacob Rees-Mogg and David Davis. Watch what they had to say and Rishi Sunak's response. And indeed, just let me know in the comments below, guys, what you make of all of this.
David Davis.
The Prime Minister, back to the question raised quite rightly by my right honourable friend, the member for North East Somerset. The opposition politician he was referring to, of course, was Nigel Farage, whose bank account was closed, not because he was a PEP, not because of commercial reasons, but because his views did not align with the values of Coutts Bank, a thinly veiled political discrimination, a vindictive, irresponsible and undemocratic action. But in addition, NatWest also disclosed confidential details about Farage's account to the BBC and lied about the commercial viability of his account, actions which ought to jeopardise its banking licence and should certainly worry NatWest's 19 million other customers. So he's told us what he's going to do for the future, but there are many other people in this circumstance. So can he require every bank with a British banking licence to inform the Treasury of all the accounts they've shut down for non-commercial reasons in the last decade?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I know that the Honourable Gentleman has spoken to the Chancellor about this particular issue, and I know he'll continue to have those conversations. In the short term, having consulted on the payment service regulations, we do intend to crack down on this practice by toughening the rules around account closures. But in the meantime, the Financial Ombudsman Service is available for people to make complaints to, but I look forward to continuing the dialogue with him, as indeed does the Chancellor.
Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does my right honourable friend share my unease that a bank that has the government as its largest shareholder should close the account of a senior opposition politician? Will he use the government's shareholding to ensure that there is an inquiry into these circumstances, because the subject data access request makes it clear, or certainly indicates, that it is the person concerned's political views that led to his cancellation? And does my right honourable friend agree with me that however much we may find them tiresome, members of the opposition deserve bank accounts?
Well, Mr. Speaker, it wouldn't be right if financial services were being denied to anyone exercising their right to lawful free speech. Our new Financial Services and Markets Act puts in place new measures to ensure that politically exposed persons are being treated in an appropriate and proportionate manner. And having consulted on the payment services regulations, we are in the process of cracking down on this practice by tightening the rules around account closures. But in the meantime, any individual can complain to the Financial Ombudsman Service, which has the power to direct a bank to reopen their account.